Were you on Reasonable Doubt like when it came out?
Reasonable Doubt was a big record, man. Streets was watching. That was a big record. I mean, I remember all that stuff. It was dope. It was fun to watch. Back in those days, too, I used to see him around in New York. Like, if you used to go out at night, a couple spots, you'd always run into him. Like, during the Ascent, you just see him. And he got his varsity jacket fairly early.
Yeah, legend status.
Yeah, fairly early. He went damn near straight to the big kids table.
Yeah, he did. He had a pretty quick
run.
We
had big kids table money early too. That helped.
Yeah. Remember back in the day when it was a big deal that he made $100,000 at the Apollo?
Yes.
And now look at him. What's $50,000 to a guy like him? Please remind him.
Did you? What other recent albums you've been sitting with, Dave?
Everybody loved that Kendrick record. That kid's doing it. That kid is a perfect reflection of many great influences. Like, when he's probably coming up listening to music, I think he had a good diet.
Yeah.
Because the way he refines it, I like him. He's fun to watch too.
Have you seen him live? Have you had a chance?
Well, do the BET Awards count?
Yeah.
Oh, and then he opened for Kanye that one run. I seen him live.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, when he opened for Ye on was it Yeezus?
Have you spent any time digesting the Hove lines on his album about Kanye?
No, you know what, man? I don't get lost in the woods trying to decipher Jay-Z lyrics. If I really, really want to know, I'll call somebody and and ask them.
Who's your go-to call for explain hip-hop lyrics to me?
I don't know. Most if I could reach him, I guess.
You had the chance to interview Kendrick for Interview magazine. What was that like? And were you able to just talk to him about whatever you wanted?
Yeah, man. He wasn't a defensive dude, man. I think he understood I came in peace. And I'm a fan of his. And I think the thing that I was impressed by him was that he sounded very introspective and thoughtful. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think he puts it down. I think he stays in probably a creative zone. Guys, like, you can tell when you talk to guys sometimes, like, this guy's working through problems that he doesn't necessarily have to work through. He's figuring it out.
Yeah.
And he's a smart dude, man. I enjoyed that conversation. Now, granted, when I spoke to him, I was in the back of a car on the road on my way to, like, dinner. And he was in the middle of, God knows what. So if I had, in a perfect world, I would have liked to have sat down with him face to face and had more of a conversation like we're having now. Well, not like we're having now, but, just actually talk. But he was very open. I mean, especially considering we're on the phone and there's a guy from Interview magazine recording the conversation and all that. Right. You know what I mean? Those things, there's a lot of moving parts. And he's never put his guards up. He didn't sound tired or evasive or anything. He just talking.
Do you believe in a lot of times in the hip-hop conversation, people, of course, laud Kendrick for his lyrics, me being the foremost to do that.
You're a nut hugger.
Me being the Kendrick nut hugger of a generation.
You hear that kids going to school in the back of the car? Nut hugger. Never talking about nut
They
hugger.
know. All the kids know.
The kids have already learned that. But a lot of people then give Drake a hard time because of the thing that was brought out about the lyric writing, etc. Do you think when you talk about all-time greats, do you use that as a strike against Drake, or do you really consider Drake to be an all-time great as well?
These types of questions are tough. Listen, when it comes to art, right? Results matter. So if I listen to a Drake record and I like it, and then somebody comes behind that and starts telling me everything that's in the hot dogs, I ate the hot dog and I like it. It's done.
Right.
You know what I mean? However, if I'm making art, I would rather do it myself.
Got it.
For me, part of it is like, what can I come up with? And I'm engaging these people. But I don't mind people that make their art via committee. If there's, I don't know what the deal is.
Because the results, like you said, the results matter.
I ate the hot dog. I like the hot dog. And it depends on how I'm using it.
Drake makes some damn good hot dogs.
Kosher dogs.
You think that kosher dog?
Well, he's Jewish. Now,
he might be out here it may not be kosher.
Are you talking about his circumcision?
That's what I mean.
Wow. I gotta tell you.
All right, guys, wait a minute. I'm going to step in here. I am not willing to sit on the radio and let you discuss the end of Drake's penis. I don't want to talk about this for even
I felt
another
like it
second.
tied together with nut hugging night.
Yeah. I know. He went from the balls all the way up to the tip. But we got to change this conversation immediately.
Okay, so Dave, your birthday is coming up, right? It's the last day at Radio City. How do you celebrate your birthday? I know you have some special surprises during the show, but how do you celebrate
in life,
your birthday?
though? Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. So, okay, after I quit my show, I don't remember how old I was or what, but I remember I was like on the walkabout, and I started riding motorcycles. So I rode my motorcycle like from Ohio, and then I was like in Austin, Texas, which took a long time, and it was my birthday, and I was riding up 6th Street in Austin, and I saw some bar. Pulled the bar over, and I walked in. You know, it was like late. It was like maybe 2 in the morning, so wasn't many people there. And I'm like, oh, wow, it's Dave Chappelle. And I said, you have a microphone? They were like, yeah, you got one in the DJ booth. And I stood in that DJ booth, and I did a set. And this is when Twitter was still like new, and I didn't know that room filled up, buddy.
Oh, because they was tweeting like Dave
Yeah,
Chappelle.
oh, you're not gonna believe this. He's just in here drinking, talking all this crazy stuff. And I probably rocked for like 4 hours that night. One of the best birthdays I can remember recently. Another time I was in Colorado and I ended up doing a show, and Common was there visiting his dad, and he came and rocked with us, and you know, it was spontaneous and fun. Yeah, birthdays. You know, my birthday, the way I celebrate them is I try to make a memory that I'll treasure. Like my best birthday, I can remember my 16th birthday because I had such a good time.
What was it?
I was in D.C. and a bunch of my brothers surprised me. My brother took me to our old neighborhood. He goes, yeah, man, remember all this? I'm like, oh, yeah, it was fun. It was like reminiscing and stuff. And then a bunch of our friends from elementary school was sitting in a park bench and surprised me. And I had a show at a comedy club in D.C. that night. We all went to the comedy club, and it was the first time they'd ever seen me perform. It was fun. And the MC was a guy named Patton Oswalt, who's pretty damn famous now.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, but I remember all these birthdays, you know. Comedy is what I like to do on my birthday. Like, I'm doing exactly what I need to be doing for my
Yeah, I was going to say, you're living the dream. You are truly living your dream.
Well, the thing is, though, but it's not easy. You know, I sincerely make a point, literally, I make a point to manufacture quality memories because it's the only thing I believe they can't take away from me.
Give us a little insight to those parties you've been throwing at a barn in Ohio.
Oh, which ones? The
Bars,
orgies
other places.
or the-
Oh my God.
Yeah,
You went orgies. You went orgies already.
No,
It's
not orgies. Not orgies.
How'd you get sign off on that? I want to talk to you. I want to talk to you about how you got sign off on that from the while.
No, the party is like, it's a juke joint, man. It's like we put full production in my neighbor's barn, and we rock out. I got this band, I call it a band with no name. Really, it's just a bunch of people I poached from Stevie Wonder. And different artists come through and just rock out in the barn. But you got to understand, where I live, this is the big dance. There's no cell phones in there, none of my shows. We don't have cell phones, so your margin of error socially is a little wider. If you know that you're not going to get filmed and gotcha. And people come through. John Legend rocked at it. Tribe Called Quest rocked at it. I mean, we've had all kinds of people.
Chance, I think. You've had Chance before,
Yeah,
right?
Chance rocked with us once. Most rocked with us once. Daylight rocked with us in London. Ed Sheeran came by in London right after he'd done Wembley Stadium, man, and it came with us. We were in a little loft in London. We just rock out, and you get to see people do stuff that you wouldn't normally see them do. Big artists come. It's like there's no ego. I'm not paying anybody anything. People just do it. It's all love, man. We all just look out for Joe.
The pivotal moment in our relationship right now, Dave Chappelle.
Wow.
You brought up Ed Sheeran, which made me think of Game of Thrones. Earlier on the show, I pissed a lot of people off who listened to the program because there's people like, I can't afford HBO, so I don't watch Game of Thrones. And I assaulted people's intellect. I said, look, if you don't watch Game of Thrones, intellectually, you and I are in a different place. And my place is better than yours.
Wow. Yeah. So I know what's coming next.
Dave Chappelle, do you watch Game of Thrones?
Them Thrones.
Oh. Them Thrones.
You watching them Thrones?
Of course I do.
Yes!
But I did not see last night.
Oh,
That's
okay.
fine, that's fine,
So
that's
no
fine.
spoilers.
That's
Yes.
fine.
How
Yo,
many
last night the Dragons.
No, that's, by the way, that's what Alexis did.
But you know, it's funny. I got on late. I like binge watched and caught up because I used to be on the tour bus, and there was a couple nerds on my bus that always be talking about it. Man, you hear bits of their conversation and dragons and all this. I'm like, man, it sounds whack. Got a work. And then I started watching it, man, and yeah, I just got sucked in. It was, you know what I mean? It was,
And then you were chiming about the dragons.
yeah. Then it was like, yeah.
Yesterday, Alexa's dad, my wife's father, wrote her and was like, she was like, Dad, did you watch Game of Thrones yet? He's like, no, I'm at dinner. I didn't see it. Don't spoil it. She was like, damn, the dragons ate Jon Snow. Sad. But it's a special kind of show. I had mixed feelings about Ed Sheeran's appearance, but it wasn't bad.
I didn't care. This is what I care about, Dave. You know a lot of white people. How much, and for people who don't watch Game of Thrones, there's a whole movement about how Game of Thrones really can teach you about white people and the things that motivate them. Right?
Wait, I haven't heard this yet.
There's a whole article.
What is this article in though? It's better.
It's on a black site. It's Black
Tail has an article, but
it's like root.com, I think. And they started the hashtag Thrones y'all and all that Twitter stuff. They're a part of that. Do you feel, for the people who don't watch Game of Thrones, that there is anything to learning white people through Game of Thrones?
Well, why don't we say it like this? Why don't we say that Game of Thrones illustrates certain concepts that are part of the power, the dynamics of power.
Okay.
And the manipulation of power and leverage in high-end situations. It'd be like if you made a show about 50 Cent's book, The 48 Laws of Power.
Okay.
How many laws of power he said there are. Yeah, I mean, and white people are often powerful in our walk of life, so maybe in that sense it's illuminating.
Yeah, because the article goes on to talk about the dragons are white privilege.
All right, then they're going to.
Because Daenerys is just born with these dragons that you just fire on anybody at any time. She ain't got nothing to worry about. You can't burn her, you can't harm her, you can't do nothing.
Yeah, so I got to think about it. I got to digest that. I don't know if that didn't immediately ring true.
And then they said winter, what are they called? The White Walkers. Mm-hmm. The White Walkers.
Who are the White Walkers?
The White Walkers is racism. It's always coming. It's KKK. It's always on the way.
No.
It's always
the White Walkers are so much more dangerous than the KKK. The KKK are pathetic at this point.
It's racism. It's
okay, because the White Walkers are terrifying.
I've got to read this article.
Where in D.C. were you born?
Washington Hospital Center.
And what section of D.C. did you grow up in?
Well, several. I used to live in Silver Spring from like 0 to 10. And then I lived in the Northeast on East Capitol Street.
Did you hear the really sad D.C. news from the weekend?
That Cool Disco Dan died.
Yes.
Man.
Wow, really?
The legend Cool Disco Dan passed away.
Yes, I did. You heard that country Cool Disco Dan?
He was for people listening who may not know, he was an iconic graffiti artist, and his tag, Cool Disco Dan. I mean, Dave, your entire life must have been seeing. I'm from Montgomery County, so I only saw it some, but in D.C., you saw it all the time.
Yo, you seen it on the bus, like written on the seat. This guy was ubiquitous. Like he just wrote all over the city. Cool Disco Dan. And then at a certain point, it's like some Turk 182 stuff. At a certain point, people were like, who is Cool Disco Dan? Mm-hmm. And there was a paper in D.C. that went and found this guy. And he was like a street legend. He was like a local, like, oh, yeah. It was a funny reference locally. And he just passed away.
And there's a great documentary that came out a couple years ago about him. That's phenomenal.
There's a documentary about Cool Disco.
Yeah, I'll send it. I'll send it to you. I got a DVD of it. It's phenomenal.
All right, stuff.
Phenomenal. But yeah, rest in peace, Cool Disco Dan.
Dave, you have some shows announcing today. What's the deal, man? More Radio City dates?
Yes, going on sale today at 3:00. Joining the lineup will be Solange.
Oh. Yes! Wait a minute. Nobody's heard this before.
No, this is breaking story.
Oh, wait, hold up. Set him up.
Yeah, you need this.
Set him up.
You need this.
Gotta have the right thing.
Okay. That's right. Solange going on sale today at 3 p.m. Also joining me at Radio City will be select members.
5 p.m., Dave.
5 p.m.
5 p.m.
Excuse me.
In the newsroom over there in the corner, they say 5 p.m.
Correction. Okay, correction. We are going on sale with Solange's show at 5 p.m. And also joining me, select cast members from Saturday Night Live. Leslie Jones, Michael Che, and Colin Jost will be joining me at Radio City. Please check your local ticket listings. I don't even know where do I tell people to look for this?
Ticketmaster.com.
Boom.
Ticketmaster.com. Of course.
And all the shows, will there be more added after this, or is this the last?
Well, like it's weird. Like some of these are sold out, man. But on August 17th, Chance the Rapper's joining me. August 18th, I'm co-hosting with the Daily Show's Trevor Noah. And then, of course, Donald Glover, a.k.a. Childish Gambino, will be on the 19th. And on August 20th, Miss Lauryn Hill will be there. And then on August 23rd, the day before my birthday, I reunite with my brothers, Yasin Bey and Talib Kweli.
Nice.
It's going to be fun.
Has talking about Trump gotten boring for you? You were a part of the SNL skit when you guys did the whole election day.
Yeah, you guys did a great skit. The black people watching the Trump results was a great
phenomenal
skit.
Yeah, man, that was actually me, Neil Brennan, and Chris Rock wrote a lot on that too.
And that seemed very you. The idea of not being surprised by that.
Oh, that's what you know. The night that he won, the writers' room at SNL stopped, and that was my attitude. Like, I was more worried about coming back to television than I was about what had happened in the election.
Right.
I live in Ohio. I could see him coming.
You knew this was going to happen.
I'm gonna say I knew.
But you could see that it's possible.
I travel the country and tell jokes, and I felt a climate where it was conceivable that this guy running that campaign could beat that candidate. Yeah, you could see it. In New York, you can't tell.
Right.
You know, like all this talk about Mexicans and getting ice. You know, New Yorkers don't know nothing about Mexicans and. We know ice, but not like Texas, not like
Arizona,
not like west of the Mississippi. You know, and in the coastal cities, you just don't know what's popping in the middle. You don't know.
So wait, that night, were you guys still at SNL working on election night?
Yeah, it was eerie, man, because they were doing this thing at the skating rink at Rockefeller, where they were projecting the winners of states on the ice, and the windows were open because I was smoking in the office. And you could hear like every few minutes when they call, say "hooray" or "all" out the window. So it was like really like you immersed in it, and there was TV screens. And I'm telling you, as the night went on, and state after state started calling Donald Trump, boy, that writers' room got quiet. Like nobody wrote anything, and cats were devastated. But you know, the show went on, and everything worked. All's well that ends well. And that episode got nominated for an Emmy, so we'll see how it goes.
All right.
Silver lining.
Yeah, ironically, the episode from the week before it was nominated for an Emmy too. So I probably won't win, but I thought that was dope.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, given all that happened that week, I was very impressed.
Well, I remember the night of the election, I was working for Complex doing this party, and when I started getting the information from family I have that knows a lot more than me that it was going bad, Common showed up. And I went up to Common and I was like, Com, she's gonna lose. And that was the first moment I realized that progressive black people, though saddened by it, were not as surprised as I was. He kind of looked at me like, And I was like, my whole life had fallen apart in front of me.
Yeah.
And it just seemed like my black friends did not take it the same way. It just was not a surprise in the same way.
Well, we've been here before.
I think I was surprised that the factions that control the way things go would allow this. I didn't think he would get as far as he got in his campaign. When he got that far, remember we would talk about it on there. I'd be like, all right, if y'all want this guy to be president, it's not going to affect my pocketbook, but boy, this is going to be embarrassing.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I don't know. I mean, this guy, where we living, man? What we doing? Look at all these things that are happening. He's just not the biggest game in town. Like, the biggest threat to America is American. You know, when it comes down to it, we're either fighting against each other or fighting for each other. You know, and his rhetoric is divisive, but in a world of cause and effect, maybe it's a good thing. For instance, Hillary Clinton didn't unite the women voters, but that Wednesday morning, they was united.
I know, that's true.
Like maybe he'll just save everybody by accident.
That's what we've started to hope for. Yeah.
That we are in a hope. We are in a enjoying watching people, because I find myself happy that people have a common enemy. I feel like. Right? Like, I feel like people want, like, it's the first time in my time in media that I feel like people